October 15, 1996. British Red Cross Headquarters, London, 4:23 p.m. Princess Diana sat in a small conference room, staring at financial documents that made her stomach turn. For months, she had been investigating irregularities in one of Britain's most respected charities, the Royal Children's Foundation. What she discovered wasn't just financial mismanagement. It was systematic theft from dying children, orchestrated by the very people trusted to help them. Diana realized she was looking at evidence of the most heartless crime imaginable, stealing hope from families in their darkest hours. But what shocked her most wasn't the scale of the theft. It was discovering who was behind it. But what nobody knows is how far the conspiracy reached, and why Diana's investigation put her life in danger. The discovery that started everything. September 8, 1996. Great Ormond Street Hospital. Diana was making one of her regular visits to Great Ormond Street Hospital when she encountered something that didn't feel right. "Princess Diana," said Sarah Mitchell, mother of 7-year-old Emma who was battling leukemia, "I wanted to thank you for the grant from the Royal Children's Foundation." Diana was confused. "I'm sorry, what grant?" "The £15,000 for Emma's experimental treatment in America. The foundation said you personally approved it because Emma's case touched your heart." Diana felt uncomfortable. She wasn't personally involved in approving foundation grants, and she had never heard of Emma's case. "Mrs. Mitchell, could you show me the documentation for this grant?" Sarah pulled out official-looking papers with the Royal Children's Foundation letterhead. Diana's signature was at the bottom, but she had never signed this document. "Mrs. Mitchell, I need to ask you something important. Have you received this money yet?" "Well, no. They said there was a processing delay, but it should come through soon." Diana felt a chill. Someone was using her name and forged signature to give false hope to desperate families. But wait, you haven't seen what Diana discovered when she investigated further. The fake foundation. September 12, 1996, Diana's private investigation. Unable to let this go, Diana decided to investigate the Royal Children's Foundation herself. What she found was shocking. The charity was real, but it was being run like a criminal enterprise. Diana arranged to meet with Margaret Holmes, the foundation's executive director, under the pretense of wanting to become more involved in their work. "Princess Diana, what an honor," Margaret gushed. "Your support means everything to families like the Mitchells." "Tell me about the grant process," Diana said. "How do you decide which families receive help?" "Well, we prioritize cases based on need and the likelihood of successful treatment, cases that would resonate with our patrons, like yourself." "And how much money does the foundation distribute annually?" Margaret hesitated. "Approximately £2.3 million last year." Diana had done her research. According to public filings, the foundation had raised over £8 million in 1995. "That's interesting. And what happens to the rest of the funds?" "Administrative costs, fundraising expenses, facility maintenance." Diana pressed further. "Could I see some financial statements? I'd love to understand where the money goes." Margaret's demeanor changed. "Princess, those documents are confidential, board members only. But I thought I was an honorary patron." "You are, but that's a ceremonial role." Diana realized she was being deliberately excluded from the foundation's real operations. "Hold up." Diana's secret investigation revealed something horrifying. The heartless truth. September 20, 1996, Diana's shocking discovery. Diana hired a private investigator to look into the Royal Children's Foundation's finances. What he found was devastating. "Princess," investigator David Chen reported, "this organization is essentially a fraud." "What do you mean?" "They raise millions by promising to help sick children, but less than 15% actually reaches families. The rest disappears into administrative costs and executive salaries." Diana felt sick. How much are the executives paying themselves? Margaret Holmes receives £180,000 annually. Her deputy gets £150,000 for a charity. And the families? Most never receive the promised help. They're told there are complications or processing delays until they give up hope or their children die. Diana was horrified. So they're essentially stealing from dying children. Worse, they're stealing hope from desperate parents. Chen handed her more documents. "But Princess, there's something else, something that will shock you." "What?" "Look at the board of directors." Diana scanned the list and felt her blood turn to ice. Among the names were several prominent members of British high society, including people close to the royal family. Don't miss this detail. Who was really behind the scandal? The royal connection. September 25, 1996. The devastating truth. The board of directors read like a who's who of British establishment figures. Ron Lord Pemberton, close friend of Prince Philip. Lady Victoria Sterling, former lady-in-waiting to the Queen. Sir James Crawford, major Conservative Party donor. Dr. Robert Thornton, royal physician to several family members. But the name that shocked Diana most was Andrew Parker Bowles, Camilla's husband. Diana realized this wasn't just a charity scandal. It was a systematic operation by people connected to the royal family to exploit sick children for personal gain. She called her trusted friend James Colthurst. "James, I need your advice about something that could be very dangerous. What have you discovered?" "Evidence that people close to the royal family are stealing millions from a children's charity." There was silence on the line. "Diana, that's incredibly serious. What kind of evidence?" "Financial records, forged documents, testimony from families who were defrauded, enough to bring down some very powerful people." "What are you planning to do?" "I'm going to expose them. All of them. This is where everything becomes dangerous. Diana's investigation threatens powerful people." The warning. October 3, 1996. The threat. Diana's investigation had not gone unnoticed. She received a phone call that chilled her to the bone. "Princess Diana." "Yes, who is this?" "A friend. Someone who knows about your recent interests in charitable organizations." "I'm sorry, I don't understand. Your investigation into the Royal Children's Foundation. It needs to stop." Diana felt panic rising. "Who is this?" "That's not important. What's important is that you understand the consequences of continuing this path." "Are you threatening me?" "I'm protecting you. The people involved in this organization have significant resources and influence. They can destroy your reputation, your relationship with your children, your future. I'm not afraid of threats. You should be. What happened to your friend Barry Manicky could happen to anyone who becomes inconvenient." The line went dead. Diana realized that her investigation had put her in genuine danger. But you're not ready for Diana's response to the threat. Diana's defiant response. October 5, 1996. Fighting back. Instead of backing down, Diana doubled her efforts. She knew that threats meant she was getting close to the truth. She arranged to meet with investigative journalist Andrew Morton in secret. "Andrew, I have a story that will shock the nation." "What kind of story?" "A charity that steals from dying children, run by people connected to the royal family." Morton looked skeptical. "Diana, that's a serious accusation. Do you have proof?" Diana opened a briefcase full of documents. Financial records showing millions in missing funds, testimony from defrauded families, evidence of forged signatures, and most damning of all, board minutes discussing how to maximize extraction from donations. Morton was stunned. This is incredible. "But Diana, publishing this will make you enemies of very powerful people." "Good. Let them come after me. At least then everyone will know what they're really like." "What do you want me to do with this?" "I want you to publish every detail." "But Andrew, I need you to protect the families. They've suffered enough. You're not going to believe what happened when Diana went public." The media campaign. October 18, 1996. Going public. Diana decided to approach the charity scandal differently than Morton's traditional exposé format. She would use her celebrity status to shine a spotlight on the issue. She arranged a surprise visit to Great Ormond Street Hospital with full media coverage. "I'm here today," Diana told the assembled reporters, "to draw attention to a very serious problem. There are organizations that exploit the desperation of families with sick children." "Are you referring to specific organizations, Princess?" asked a journalist. "I'm referring to any organization that takes money intended to help children and uses it to enrich themselves instead. Do you have evidence of this happening?" Diana looked directly into the cameras. "I have evidence that at least one prominent charity has systematically defrauded families out of millions of pounds while their children were dying." The reporters erupted with questions, but Diana continued. "I will be releasing this evidence to the proper authorities, but I want every parent watching to know, if a charity promises you help and then finds excuses not to deliver it, that's not bureaucracy, that's theft." Don't miss this shocking revelation. What the charity did next. The desperate cover-up. October 20, 1996. The Foundation fights back. 2 days after Diana's public statement, the Royal Children's Foundation held an emergency press conference. Margaret Holmes, flanked by several board members, appeared calm but was clearly rattled. The Royal Children's Foundation categorically denies any allegations of financial impropriety. "Princess Diana has been misinformed about our operations." "Are you calling the princess a liar?" asked a reporter. "I'm saying she has been given incorrect information by people with their own agendas." But Diana had anticipated this response. She had prepared a devastating counterattack. The next day, she released audio recordings of phone calls between Foundation executives discussing how to handle the Diana problem. In one recording, Margaret Holmes could be heard saying, "She's getting too close to the real numbers. We need to destroy the evidence and blame it on a disgruntled employee." In another, a board member discussed making donations disappear before any investigation could begin. The recordings were devastating because they showed clear intent to defraud and cover up. Here's where the scandal exploded. What Diana revealed next. The Smoking Gun. October 25, 1996. The Evidence Dump. Diana released a comprehensive dossier that destroyed the Royal Children's Foundation completely. Financial evidence. Executive salaries totaling £890,000 annually, £2.1 million in consulting fees paid to shell companies, only £1.2 million actually distributed to families, documented fraud, 47 forged documents using Diana's signature, 156 families promised help who received nothing, 3 cases where families were charged processing fees for grants that never materialized. The most heartbreaking evidence: letters from families thanking Diana for help they never received, and desperate follow-up letters asking why promised treatments had been cancelled. One letter, from the mother of 5-year-old Timothy, who died while waiting for promised funding, said, "Princess Diana, Timothy kept asking when your money would come so he could get better. I told him you were working on it. He died believing you would save him. But wait, the final revelation was the most shocking of all. The royal family's response. November 1, 1996, Palace Damage Control. The palace's response to Diana's charity scandal exposé revealed everything about their priorities. Instead of condemning the fraud, they criticized Diana for interfering in matters outside her remit. Princess Diana's investigation into private charitable organizations represents a concerning breach of protocol," read an official palace statement. The statement said nothing about the stolen money or the defrauded families. When reporters pressed for the royal family's position on the charity fraud itself, a palace spokesperson said, "The activities of private charitable organizations are not a matter for royal comment." Diana was furious. She released her own statement. While the palace worries about protocol, children are dying because money meant to save them has been stolen. If caring about that is a breach of protocol, then I'm proud to breach it. The final truth. What happened to the criminals? Justice and consequences. November 1996, March 1997. The aftermath. Diana's investigation led to criminal prosecutions. Margaret Holmes, 8 years for fraud and embezzlement. 3 board members, 4-6 years each. Andrew Parker Bowles, charges dropped due to insufficient evidence. His royal connections protected him. Financial recovery. £4.2 million recovered and distributed to families. The Royal Children's Foundation dissolved. New oversight regulations implemented for all charities using royal patronage. Personal cost to Diana. Increased surveillance and threats. Further deterioration of relationship with royal family. More pressure to stay in her lane. But Diana's greatest victory. She saved dozens of families from financial ruin and gave them hope when they had none. More importantly, she established new standards for charitable accountability that protected future families from similar fraud. The truth. Diana's charity scandal investigation revealed that even in the world of helping sick children, corruption could flourish when protected by wealth and influence. But it also showed Diana at her most powerful, using her celebrity status not for personal gain, but to protect the most vulnerable people in society. The royal family's response, criticizing Diana for investigating rather than condemning the fraud, revealed their true priorities. They cared more about protecting connected criminals than helping defrauded families. Diana proved that sometimes the most royal thing you can do is refuse to act royal when justice is at stake.